Hello, hello. Mike Arnold here. Once you see me, there I am. Co-founder, Path Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How is everyone doing? Wavy in the house. By the way, if you're new here, please do consider subscribing, ringing the bell, and hitting the like button. Yesterday we put out, we even talked about it the day before that we would what the strong daily buy would be and the 4 hour buy, besides the intraday stuff, which just why you should be part of Discord. But you had the massive gap up after the buy signals and running up just above the daily rotation zone. I was just going to talk about that. So everybody was speculating because of Elon's interview last night that he said his selling was over. But then again, right before the close today, he said, here's put the quote here: when the 10B pre-programmed sales complete, there are so few tranches left, but almost done. Interesting timing, because this is where Elon, if we ever had an SEC that would do anything besides going after small fry insider trading cases, then he'd actually be in trouble. Because he gives the impression last night, he will say, well, I meant my discretionary sales, but his discretionary sales stopped Friday 11/12. Okay, everything else has been on plan. And then he waits all day. You get massive juicing in the options. Here are the options, by the way. I mean, this is the biggest. I haven't done these in a couple of weeks because there just hasn't been anything to talk about. But we were seeing huge blocks go off of the thousands. I mean, these weren't retail blocks. These were institutional blocks going off at the thousand strike price. By the way, the options expire tomorrow since Friday is closed for trading. So if you're playing the options, remember that they're done tomorrow afternoon. So keep that in mind. And yeah, he does it again I didn't think when he said that last night, I'm like, hey, he means discretionary. We're going to see a massive pump today, and then he's going to sell into. Well, it's not him selling again. The plan's already in place. But look, his last price was average price was 914, and now it's back over 1,000. So if the selling resumes next week, be surprised if it happens tomorrow. It could, though. Anything can happen with him. Uh, he's got the stock price back up over $1,000, so his sales resume. But let's see. The SEC made billions off Tesla pumps. Will turn a blind eye. We shouldn't just get rid of the regulators then. This is my you're scalping the thousands for a buck to a buck 50. Yeah, there's a nice gap left over to fill. Traded, so the buck to buck 50 traded up to 24 today, high at 50. All of MAs up now. The correct sequence now, barring any hand grenade tweets, news targets are now 1070 and 1160, 1180 areas. I could see the 1070s if there's no selling tomorrow, but if the selling comes in next week, that's going to put some downdraft on it again. So we'll see. Then after that, selling is away from it. We can see, as long as there's nothing that comes out, because this is the huge risk. If the SEC ever gets off his butt and wants to crack down on this, then it can turn this thing on a dime. We shall see. I mean, it'll be a nice tug back and forth. I think he's got more than two tranches left to sell. So I think it's going to be closer to three. I think it's going to be about three. So I mean, it violates the rules that you put some information out. I mean, as him, the CEO, use my selling is complete. Then you wait. Oh, like there's going to be more selling. It could continue into next year. So yeah, we're getting the Santa rally finally, Oliver. So let's see here. I just want to keep the daily chart up here. Let's see. Let's switch cameras. There we go. Daily chart up here. So back in neutral mode on the daily without doing any other price. Holding above the 1,000 mark. I mean, those options just went off insane today. Well timed, by the way, too, with those huge block trades. Very well timed, and I'll leave it at that. 1 hour, the only thing I'm going to be keeping an eye on tomorrow is this potential double. Potential double top, I mean, even on the 15-minute. So that's what I'm watching for tomorrow. Right now, I have it on the aggressive targets, but I'd move this to the conservative targets. So I'm keeping it on a 988.90. If we get that triggered, I'm watching for 975.52, but I'll probably switch these in the morning if it rolls over. Now, if it makes a new high, it's still in play, but then I won't move the targets. 975.52, 968.83, 962.14. Then that could be completed without ever going into the gap fill. Bullish line in the sand for tomorrow has to be above here, about 1,850 area. And then 10-15-66. Then we got to the upside. Let's see what our levels are. 10-26-84, 10-32-02. Above that, I'd be watching the right around the 1045, 1046 area. Then I'm going all the way up to about 1070. That's my next major target. So those are all the upside targets. Motor trade, the fundamental wind in the sails is window dressing by underweight managers before you're in, and the stock usually runs up into earnings. Yeah, I do agree, and we'll have the delivery numbers coming out right at the beginning of the new year. We'll just have to see how that plays into with the selling. Uh, Tesla had a wild day when the bots are going crazy. Yeah, I can't see the stuff. Here's what I see. I see this, so I'm not even looking at the link. So are they posting links? Because I'm not following it on YouTube because I can't pay attention to that many things. Uh, let me glance over. See, I can't. Oh no, I'd have to call up a separate page. If anyone doesn't like Tesla stock, just ignore it and walk away. Shorting it will probably hurt you badly in the mid to long run. Oh, we shall see. And it's not about the stock. I could care less about that. I don't care about stock. I don't get married to stocks. I just don't like market manipulation. Never have. I don't care who does it. Don't like it at all. I think if we're going to have it and the SEC is not going to do anything, get rid of the SEC. I know too many people that the SEC's caused problems for that didn't do anything wrong. They go after stuff that they shouldn't be, and they've ignored the blatant stuff. That's my beef with the SEC. So you know what? Either enforce it or don't. And if you're not going to enforce it, don't have my tax dollars go to pay for this crap. The whole market is manipulated. All right. Well, we could talk about plunge protection teams and everything else. Well, and you can talk about the Federal Reserve. And it's gotten worse over the years, not better. So, but that's a whole nother conversation for the other day. Let's just take a look at all our time frames. For support, we already have that. This is why I'm watching this 1 hour, because we have the rotation zone on the 1 hour, 988.90 at the rotation zone. So we could even come back down here and bounce and rotate back up. But if it does trigger, I will be watching. As you can see here, even with the completion of that potential double top, you're still in the 1 hour rotation zone on any pullback. And that could definitely happen if there's planned selling tomorrow. Other than that, you still have the gap behind. So if we get to below today's low, then I'd be focusing first on about the 950 area run up and then back down for the gap fill. I think that's everything. 4 hour rotation zone. Not going to give anything new. So it's not quite overbought on the 4 hour. Definitely overbought on the 1 hour. Interesting to see if we open up with a gap up tomorrow. If we did open up with a gap, even if we made a higher high than today, and the gap didn't, we could have a divergence that rolls into a double. So I'm just going to be in sort of cautious mode and keep my eyes open for any selling. And then if we have momentum the upside, especially with the broad market, I'm just targeting 1026.84 and 1038.02. as my first key level C upside. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else, unless somebody else sees something. Longer term, yeah, we're still in a downward channel, and we still have that weekly double that triggered. I mean, it could come up even to this 1100 area and still have a weekly double in place. And this is why, remember, we never got out of bullish mode on the weekly, and it's just had a rotation up. So you had bearish mode on the daily, but then we got daily buy signals, and weekly now is a strong week back up to retest the base. So there you go. Weekly rotation zones technically held. But we are still in a downward sloping channel. That doesn't mean you can't take bullish trades. It just means I more aggressively move up stops and can take stuff off at key levels and look to re-enter on other key levels. Weekly so far looks good. Strong reversal off last week's close. How significant is the weekly close tomorrow? I'm going to be paying close attention to where it does close, especially above or below this 1,000 mark. That's going to be the area. And if we close back down, if we do get selling and it closes back down 978 below this again, the trigger for the double on the weekly, that is much more significant. But, and also take a look at this. If we close above, well, it's going to be an outside week already, but it's really strong if it closes above last week's high. Because then you have an outside reversal week with a close above the prior week's high, which is a very strong bullish reversal sign. Was there a divergence at 1:40 Eastern on the 5-minute? There were a lot of divergences this afternoon. 1:40. 5-minute. Let's see. Where's 1:40? No, I'm not seeing any on the 5-minute. Let's see. We had high. No, this wasn't. There's no divergence in here. There's no divergence between those two. There. Let's see. Between this high, where we come in 76.88 to this high, 77.48. No divergence there. The only little mini divergence you have it was at the end of the day. There were divergences here earlier, especially on, you know, where it started leveling out here and then dying. You had some minute, but nothing on that 5-minute. 12:55 to 1:40. 12:55 to 1:40. 12:55. I'm not seeing the divergences that you're seeing. So you didn't make a higher high here. Remember, you need a higher high. Now, between this one and this one, there's no divergences because I'm looking at these two peaks by those divergences, and you had higher high in price action, higher high in the RSI. This you had higher high in price action, slightly higher high in the RSI. This is the only little mini divergence, but just because you have a divergence, there's nothing to short based off of that. This is the only mini divergence, higher high, lower high RSI. So I'm not seeing anything. You'll have to elaborate, Bob. I was just wondering if you could make similar arguments and videos on Apple. Assume we're in 2010. You'd have to refresh me with what you're exactly referring to. I was not making videos in 2010, but there's lots I've talked about over the years before I started making videos. So I'm not seeing anything else. So essentially the game plan, it's easy for tomorrow. We got the potential double, break lower if there's selling pressure coming in. Just watching for that double target, break higher. We got our level C upside. We got this a little clear path move, and that coincides, with some stopping points upwards to this with the flat out 200 on the 1 hour. So I'd just be using these levels and really focusing on a 1 hour chart once the moves get started. If I'll get started on the 5 minute, but I'll quickly shift to the 15 in case we start breaking down and see that price action. Other than that, that's a simple game plan for tomorrow. Yeah, Sean, when you're talking, I'm always in Central Time. Okay, so you got to cite stuff. Cite stuff in Central Time for me. It makes it easier with my charts. 9:55, and if that is 10. Here, why don't you, Sean, email me support at Path Trading Partners. Email me a screenshot of what you're looking at, and I will respond at some point. It might not be tonight, but email me, and I will take a look at that. Other than that, I'm going to wrap it up. There's not much else to talk about unless somebody's seen something else. Has there been any more tweets I should be aware of? Anything else that's earth shattering? Other than that, we're just going to trade the low liquidity price action tomorrow and see if any selling comes in. By the way, there will be a Tesla live stream tomorrow. It will be at 3:30 Central, not 4:30. I want to do it earlier so I can get a start earlier, and the market analysis overview will be Sunday at 3 p.m. Central, normal time. Thank you, you too, Wavy, and I'll talk to everyone later. Bye for now.